Okay, well, it's almost 2023, and I'm out here underneath the 1986 Jeep Comanche, and I'm changing
power steering gearbox.
It's located about in this general vicinity right there, and but I think that my gearbox went bad, and so a buddy that I buy parts from sometimes had one, and I bought one from him. So it's not even new, we're just swapping one from one Jeep of the age and putting it on another. It's not new, not anything like that. So let's get to it. Alright, so this is a closer view of the suspension. Alright, that's all the stuff you have in the way, potentially, of our area of interest.
Power steering gearbox.
Pitman arm goes onto here. And then we have this little bracket. There it is. You see the bracket? I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a bracket between the power steering
Gearbox
and the frame. So that's kind of our area of work. We have to get the fasteners nice and clean. When these things start leaking, they gather dirt pretty good. And then this is your access port. So this is underneath the bumper here. And you kind of have this area to access your 1, 2, 3 bolts. So the third one's way up there, 2, 3. And those are the ones you have to tighten and loosen. 16 millimeter. All right, so this is the old gearbox. Now I did compare bolt patterns between the two. I checked the threads and the splines, everything is the same. The mount was literally the same. I don't know if I'm gonna rebuild this guy or not. Here's the bottom. So this part, this area of the pump here goes against the frame. So these brackets here bolt it to the frame because they're threaded. And that is the unit right there. Pretty freaking sweet. I think I rebuilt one of these one time from a CJ7. It was in 1981, I believe. I think it's the exact same pump. Well, okay. There's the other steering gearbox. You can see the hookup areas. The coupler there, it just slides over. It can only slide one way because it's in the shape of a D. And then it's held on by that 10 millimeter bolt. So as I finish up here, I'll have to tighten that bolt right there in the center, just to make sure that that coupler doesn't come off. Let's see, high pressure, low pressure, right? And that goes up into the cap. That's your steering shaft. I did use some grease on the splines of the input shaft just to make sure that the steel couple laid well, I guess is a good way to put it. But when you take your old hoses off, I just hang them, you know, from the hood, and they just sit there like that. That entire process, you try and move those as little as possible. I'm hoping that my guy up here isn't bad, but he might be. we're gonna see if just swapping the gearbox will make any difference in this Jeep or not. There we go. You have to take the vapor canister, this turd, yep, that's its bracket right there, and it sits on top of the pump. To clean it, I'm just going to do one final blast of this brake cleaner just into that one port right there. I can kind of control a small stream into there, but I don't want to put very much into that other hole. Gotta get our rag, just clean this up. Clean that out the best you can. If there's any big pieces, you're gonna want to grab like tweezers. Get that as clean as possible. Same thing with the starting threads here. Get them nice and clean. We get them as clean as we can. We do the exact same thing here. We get these as clean as we possibly can. And of course, you only want to use the right kind of cleaners and lubricants. Well, the thing has been mounted by now, and I got the connections as clean as I'm okay with. Gotta find an O-ring, so I don't know if I've got that. 2 O-rings actually. But here is the upper connections. I've cleaned those very nicely, and you can see the seats where the O-rings go. There are no O-rings there, and that is what's holding me up. Probably at the parts store. Alright. Well, there it is. Rehooked back up. So, at this point, we're going to turn on the engine. I'll probably jack up the front tires and brake in the pump.